We've been through a lot of corporate training, and what was different about Yetta was it wasn't the normal shtick, if you will. It was more about mind and body and slowing down, talking about yoga, but going a lot deeper than that, about changing the narrative, how to think differently, how to slow down. So those are some of the words that got my attention versus just true corporate speak. When I first met Yetta, it was a corporate experience, and I was cynical by nature, meditation, mindfulness. She comes in full of energy in a room of about 30 people, and then listening a little bit to her story and how she's been on this mindfulness journey for a number of years and how she changed the narrative. So it intrigued me. My cynicism was still there, but she certainly intrigued me with her style and with the content of the presentation. After the first corporate interaction with Yetta, I went through a pretty intensive kind of one-on-one narrative coaching where we would do upwards of 3 hours a week. So it was deep, it was intriguing because it wasn't therapy in the sense that I get therapy would be. It was peeling back the layers of the onion to kind of uncover some things that you were dealing with. It was more of a holistic, let's think about where you are. Let's go on a journey, do some exercises to get you where you can do this on your own. It was very difficult for me in the beginning to sit through the meditation that was all of 3 to 5 minutes. I couldn't do it. I didn't know if it was ADHD or just me, or thoughts were just racing. And she was like, yeah, everyone has that. Thoughts are just racing. We're trying to get you to be able to be calm, slow them down, and get into a state of mind with more clarity that allows you deeper focus. It took me probably 2 to 3 straight weeks until I had an aha moment and the meditation became easier. It became more of a routine. Once we got into the habit of doing it, you could see a change coming in attitude, in self-belief, in whatever it was that I was dealing with at the time. And what it did was really open my eyes to situations. I didn't jump in as quickly. I would sit and listen. And with a junior in high school as a daughter and a freshman in high school son, listening is a good thing. And it got me out of the sense of trying to control situations. It got me to the sense of listening and asking questions and trying to just be there versus dictating. And that's helped not only personally, but work. Mindfulness means to me more of a sense of calm and thoughtfulness. Waking up, being rushed, as busy as things are in society today, I would be 30 minutes into the day, have 3 cups of caffeine, and be pissed off at the world. There seems to be a lot of stress that everybody holds. And mindfulness and meditation, it's not going to alleviate it completely, but it may put it in perspective. And how it's really impacted me is to start the morning with specific things. Kind of going in and owning the morning, and if you own the morning, you own the day. So getting up earlier, going through that routine, by 6:30 or 6:45, I was finished with it, and you felt that you were going to tackle your day in a much better state of mind than I had been for the last 5 or 10 years of just living in the rat race. It's made work relationships and personal relationships deeper, and it's not hard to understand why. It's not about me, it's about the we, and it's about how the group, be it a family group or a work group, interacts with one another from a collaborative standpoint. And it comes back to saying, stop controlling. Just be present. Just have conversations. One of the things that have stuck with me the most was a conversation about the relationship I had with my mom. And that's where some issues were that you just never really got past. And she was, you don't get past it, you embrace it. You understand what she brought to you, and this is how you need to move on from that. So it was a simple exercise that when she said it to me, I was like, that's the silliest thing that I've ever heard. And it was writing a letter, going to the graveside, saying whatever that you needed to say and reading the letter, And then once you finish that, the end, the crescendo, was to burn the letter. It was pretty emotional kind of reading the letter based on relationships, good, bads, and indifference of the relationship. Kind of reading the letter, writing it was difficult. Reading it wasn't as difficult as writing it, and burning it and having it kind of go up in smoke, if you will, at the graveside was almost empowering. Said what needed to be said, burned the letter, let's move forward. It's freeing from the standpoint of letting go of so many things that you've dealt with for so long and realizing that at the end of the day, what you've harped on for so long isn't really that big of a deal. It's really not that important. It's something that needs to be addressed, dealt with, and moved on from. The message of kind of the light coming, the deeper you get, you only see that in the middle of the journey. You don't see it at the beginning because you know that it's going to be hard work and it's freeing, but you have to open up yourself emotionally to go there. And if you're unwilling, it's going to be dark. If you're willing, and Yetta's very good at pushing you, willing or not, maybe pulling you, willing or not, to kind of take chances and take risk, because she can go back to her personal journey and say, from experience, the deeper I go still today, there's more light. Yetta and I have spent a lot of time talking about her life story. I think what everybody can take from the story is that the narrative and the history that you have doesn't define your future. It's something that is always with you. You can't erase the history. It's how you have gotten through it. It's how you've adapted. It's how you've embraced it and taken some of those life stories that have made you who you are, and then spin them from a narrative that they've given you a lot of what you have, and then the narrative how to use that to better yourself moving forward, I think is a big part of her story and others' stories. So it's freeing from the sense that you don't look at your life from where you've been. That shaped you. You look at how you're going to evolve and how you're going to spend the next 20, 30, 40 years of your life. Even though I don't see Yetta as much as I used to, it's the foundation on mindfulness and narrative coaching that you have to live in each and every day to make sure you understand that this is a constant journey.